Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Ask Katie Anything. I'm your host, licensed marriage and family therapist, Katie Morton. I'm so glad that you're here. Today I am joined by an old but youthful friend. I always say old, but it makes it sound like we're old.
Yeah, I get that.
But I've just known you for a long time.
It's true. When did we meet? Was it 2016?
It has to be.
Something around there?
We'll talk about that because Always Open.
Yes.
Yes.
That's where I first met.
If you don't know who this is the wonderful and amazing Barbara Dunkelman. She is a voice actress, content creator, podcaster, and internet personality, best known for her work with Rooster Teeth Productions, voicing the character Yang in the beloved animated web series RWBY, as well as founding the woman-led brand All Good No Worries. Very cute stuff. You can check it out on her Instagram. She has been a prominent figure in the gaming, entertainment, and YouTube communities for over a decade and is currently a member of the hit D&D comedy podcast, Tales from the Stinky Dragon. Barbara, it's so good to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. I can't believe we haven't done this sooner.
I know. I also feel like I haven't seen you.
I know we texted, but I've been busy. You've been busy. I need to prioritize. I tend to isolate when I get overwhelmed.
Me too. I also feel like the friends I have in the city I live in, I see less often than the friends I have in like other cities.
Same, because if you go to the other city, you reach out and you make time because there's nothing else. Like,
exactly.
It's so easy to go home and go. Yeah.
But hello.
So
good to see you.
You too. So you are my husband's a Canadian and you are a Canadian.
Yes.
What brought you to the States? I have a lot of questions, things I just don't know because I haven't asked you.
It's true. So I moved to Austin in December of 2011 to work for Rooster Teeth, which you mentioned in my lovely intro. Thank you so much. They were a company that I was actually a really big fan of through my teenage years. I was a huge fan of their show Red vs. Blue, which was made with Halo. Yes. Some of you may be familiar with it. And I was a big part of their community. I loved the company. I loved the productions and everything like that. And I especially loved the community that they built. And so I was on their website probably an unhealthy amount of time.
No one's judging.
Especially
There's a judgment-free zone.
Yeah, when I should have been studying. But eventually when I went through college and everything like that and I was looking for work, I had posted a lot on their community site of, I don't know what I'm going to do next in life. And Bernie Burns, the founder of Rooster Teeth, reached out and he's like, hey, like, we love you. Our community loves you. We should try to find a way to get you down to Austin to work for us.
How nice of Bernie.
I know. And I was like, wow. Okay. That would be beyond a dream job. And long story short, I got a work visa from Canada.
I was just going to ask. Because people don't always know that process.
Oh my God.
So stressful.
Not easy.
No, and also not easy to get a good paying job. Like I had a lot of friends in LA, especially that like my friend Cami works in like the fashion industry.
Yeah.
And she's from France and she would get like essentially taken advantage of. Like I think
100%.
she made, I thought I was getting taken advantage of as an therapist intern, but hers was worse.
Oh my God.
So I'm really glad that you found an amazing way.
It was definitely, like a entry-level position, but I was like, I'll do anything to come and work at Rooster Teeth. The company I was obsessed with at the time still was, to the very last day I worked there. But yeah, that's how I got to Austin. And then eventually, I think I renewed my work visa once, but then in the process of the second year around, I got my green card. So
amazing.
Permanent residence, yeah.
My husband too. Although he could apply for his full, he just paperwork is not his thing.
Yeah, I know. I technically could apply for citizenship right now, but I'm lazy.
I know. It's like an extra hassle, right?
Right.
Okay, so Rooster Teeth, what was your first job? What was it like?
So it was community manager at Rooster Teeth. So it was basically doing a lot of what I already kind of was doing when I lived in Canada, which was just interacting with the community, posting about updates that the company was working on, posting about shows, merch, events, sales, anything going on, as well as like any kind of interaction with the community that they were doing. And then that eventually led to social media, which I think a lot of people know as today as like community management. Became the social media manager and kind of the head of marketing of the company because at that time, I think there was 30 employees total.
Wow, so small.
So tiny. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know if this is correct or not. I love Rooster Teeth. You guys brought me out quite a few times, like RIP, although it's kind of bad. But it seemed, I didn't know how they operated that many people. I'm not to say I wasn't surprised they went under, not in a bad way. Like I loved them. How did it feel that way to you as well? Or like, because it seemed like there's just a lot of people, a lot of moving parts. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is amazing. Like, as a creator who works like just with my husband, like, and we have a small team, like 3 other people. I was like, wow,
It definitely, I think, grew too fast, too quick, which might have been part of the issue. So I think it was around the end of 2014 is when Rooster Teeth was acquired by Fullscreen, which eventually, as it changed hands and different companies bought different companies, it was under Warner Media, AT&T to Warner Media to Discovery, all those different things. And so during all these different processes, new people came in, more people got hired, it grew, money was being funneled into all these different projects to the point where it wasn't really sustainable. And then the pandemic hit. So that completely shifted everything. We were already kind of having a tough time keeping up with what we were doing. But then when the pandemic hit and everything had to turn into a work from home production, so quality changed, people's spending habits changed, everything kind of shifted in the industry, as I'm sure you guys experienced to a degree as well. It was hard to bounce back from that. And so even when we started going back in the office for production, it was really hard to recover. And I think Rooster Teeth being at that point over 20 years old, people don't stick around for that long with one production company or one piece of entertainment typically. So it's, if you're not bringing in new people as much as people are slowly funneling out from, growing up, aging out of the content, finding other interests, it's kind of hard to maintain.
No, agreed. And I think so often we just think like, it'll just keep going, I mean, I've been a content creator since 2011. So I've seen that. That's why I was like, I'm excited to talk to you because there is something about like we're like tough. I'm not like trying to like pat us on the back, but I mean, there's a ton of other phrases I could use, but essentially I feel like content creation can be, and this is going to sound dramatic, I feel like it can be like a coffin for some people.
Yeah.
Or it can be like a classroom where you're like, how can I get better? How can I adjust? How can I, change who I am to either accommodate me? Like, because that's what I'm doing right now personally is like, I want to be more authentic. I've kind of gotten like steered, not really away, but like not what I want to talk about or what I want to do. So I'm bringing it back into that a little bit. Yeah, it's more fun just to talk about like what I'm working on. What am I thinking about? And not to be like, it's all about me, but I have to be excited.
I think that is the key to it though.
Yeah.
And what I think we to a degree lost sight of is, especially with like new management coming in, new people thinking that they might know what to do versus the people who've been there for a decade having some idea, is we became almost like trend chasers to a degree where it was, doing things and making things that we thought people wanted or thought they would like versus what we were necessarily passionate about. But also, as you said, it's hard to come up with things necessarily all the time, constantly.
Well, we don't have blackout dates like TV, television shows and like traditional, like even to make a film or anything, whether it's that schedule, they create something and then they go into the dark and like think up other things,
I think we were comparing it to Saturday Night Live. How, like, imagine if SNL was on every single day or, like, even once a week continually. They never took season breaks. They were never off. That's kind of like what Rooster Teeth felt like. Like, we didn't have time off to, like, go into a writer's room and work for months on, like, what our next season was going to look like. It was every day, how do we make something that's relevant, that we are excited about, that is good quality, with at some point diminishing budgets too. So it was tough.
It's hard. Like content creation isn't for, I know people think like, oh, it's easy and it's amazing. You guys make all this money. And I'm like, maybe some people do.
Some people.
But like anything, like what, the top little percentage? And for how long? Because I've also seen the like, the hot and cold of it too.
And like, could you think of really any content creator or even content in general that you've been watching for more than 5 years, 10 years?
I do watch reruns of Gilmore Girls a lot. I'm that girl. I also watch Sex and the City reruns, but I don't watch them constantly.
Yeah.
It's like Sex and the City came out and it like ended when I started college around that time.
Yeah,
so
it's like what, 94 to 2000, or am I thinking of Friends?
No, I think it's 98. No.
Okay.
I think it's 98 to 04 or around there.
Something around there.
Yeah. And I started college in 02. So I remember watching the final with my girlfriends, and like I just remember that hype. And so it's like nostalgia.
Yep.
And so I will return, but it's the same things I'm watching over and over again. It's not like, and when it comes to YouTube, I've changed all the time.
Exactly. Like imagine if Sex and the City was still, I mean, they do have that show just like that, which
it's not the same. It's a different show.
Different thing. But like imagine if they never stopped making the show, how many people would still be watching from start to now?
None, pretty
Hardly
much.
any.
Yeah.
Maybe there'd be a couple people still hanging on, but typically the lifespan of some type of content or a creator does not last longer than 5-10 years.
No, I was going to say people are stoked to get their second season. If you think of seasons, and 6 seasons is like amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Law and Order is just crazy. It just keeps going, but who doesn't love crime?
And Grey's Anatomy too, right?
Yes, they keep going. But I fell off.
Yeah.
I watched it like religiously and then I fell off.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rooster Teeth closed. How? Because I was watching from the outside and I was like, oh my God. And I mean, we kind of felt it coming, but not really. And you kept thinking, oh, somebody will buy it and it'll get bought out because that's what had happened. How was that for you at that time?
It was a very interesting time. I felt it was coming, so it didn't completely shock me. It was strangely, in a lot of ways, kind of a weight off my shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had been there, again, since the end of 2011. And for the majority of my time there, it was like, the best year. It was the best years of my life. I had so much fun there, but especially towards the end, the last maybe 3 to 4 years, it was a struggle. It was tough to try to constantly come up with new things, to go with the trends, especially with like TikTok and short form content being a whole new thing we had to figure out. And, we saw the numbers, we saw the audience, we saw our sales, we saw our numbers for our subscription service, and they were not improving. And so there was many years of like, pushing ourselves to the limit of how could we fix this? How could we turn this around? How could we find new audiences? What do we do? Again, with not a lot of budget to work with. And so there was a lot of like long nights and long weeks and months of trying to figure it out and feeling a little hopeless in that sense. And so when the news finally came that it was going to be ending, it was like, okay, well, at least we can now move on and go to the next chapter of our lives and not have to, spend a lot of long nights trying to think of how to fix this. So.
Well, yeah. And I mean, nice perspective, by the way. I'm sure at the moment it was still like, oh my God.
It was definitely a shock.
Because you and your fiance at the time both worked there.
Yes.
So how was that? Because as like your friend and kind of like watching from the outside and being like, oh my God, Barbara, because then you were, and correct me if I'm wrong, because timing could be wrong, but in my brain, you were about to get married.
Yep.
Which is expensive.
Yeah.
I've done it.
Yeah.
Even though my parents helped a lot, like I paid for most of it because I'm an adult.
Mm-hmm.
You both lost your job. It wasn't just you.
Right.
It was like
double hit. Yeah.
Yeah. Even if like we can look at it from a healthy perspective of like, oh my God, like I need it out. Like sometimes, the universe knows what we need before we do.
Mm-hmm.
How was that for both of you? Did Trevor have the same view?
Yeah, I think both of us kind of shared the feeling just because, again, it was really difficult for those last few years, especially the last few months. We also, I'm not going to get into it, but there was a lot of controversy that we were dealing with of, disgruntled employees, some things very valid, some things not having zero truth to them that I'm not going to get into. But the company was riddled with a lot of controversy that no matter what we did, no matter what we said, there was no way to confront it. And there was no way to convince people that, their feelings were not valid because they were.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another kind of element to everything that made it extra stressful and, tough to kind of be part of every day when you knew the truth and when you knew deep down how the company operated, what the people were like, and still seeing these claims that you just couldn't really do much about. That was something that I felt was going to follow us no matter what we did. So again, a little bit of relief to move on from that. But Trevor felt the same way in terms of a little bit of a weight off our shoulders. But he also had been there for so long. It was so much a part of his, identity.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the idea of both people in a relationship losing their jobs.
Right before you get married. I was like, I just felt for you. I was like, because also I know anxiety is like something that you're assuming we talk about that, but like a little overwhelming regardless.
Yeah. It's funny because we actually had like our final, it ended up being like 8 or 9 hours, like final goodbye stream on April 26th, 2024. Our wedding was April 26th.
Today's podcast is sponsored by Aura Frames. If you're anything like me, every year there's at least one person on my list who I love, but who is impossible to shop for. For me, it's my best friend. I want something personal, meaningful, not just another mug or blanket. And every year I swear I'll plan ahead, and then suddenly it's December 20th and I'm in that last minute frantic shopping mode. This year, Aura Frames completely saved me. I'm gifting her one of their Carver matte frames, and it's honestly the perfect gift because I can preload it with photos before it even ships. I added some pictures of our girls' trips, some funny photos from college, and of course, a few pictures of Roxy. And she'll keep getting new photos all year long because I can add them straight from my phone, anytime, from anywhere. Aura makes it so easy. Unlimited free photos and videos, super quick setup, and every frame comes in a beautiful gift box with no price tag. It feels personal without being overwhelming, like giving someone a window into all the moments that matter. You can't really wrap togetherness, but you can frame it. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, by using promo code Kati at checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code Kati. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames sell out fast, so order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply.
Our wedding was April 26th, 2025. So like we literally on the stream were like, 1 year from today, we're getting married. I wonder if we're going to be crying more today or in a year from now.
Wow. Isn't life funny like that?
Yeah. So it's just funny how it worked out. But yeah, it was definitely a lot more stressful, and like having both of us needing to figure out what our next steps were versus, other people who had a significant other, a partner who had a different job or a different line of work who was unaffected by it, where they maybe weren't as nervous about what the future held for them because they at least had that, side of things covered. But for two people who had a wedding coming up, who, have to still pay the bills together and figure out health insurance and just everything that comes along with being unemployed all of a sudden is extra stressful.
Yeah, I'd read, because I think about that a lot too, because Sean and I both depend on what we do now. We've both quit our job, like our full-time jobs, and this is our full-time job as a family.
That's amazing.
Oh yeah, but scary also. And that's what made me think of you, because when that was happening, I was like, oh my God, that's so, I know that stress of like, it's a lot of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, I don't know if you read Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Big Magic.
No.
Oh, I recommend it.
Okay.
And this sounds weird to say, but the first half I loved. The second half, not as good. It's kind of broken into halves. But the reason I loved it is she talks about like putting pressure on your art and how that can like snuff out the flame.
Interesting.
And it was such a good perspective because we do that. Like we put so much pressure on it because we have to pay our bills.
Right. It's your job. Yeah.
And I'm always jealous of people who have like a partner who has like a corporate job, who has like good health insurance and like steady income that you can live off of, because I do not know that life. She does not know me.
I've never thought about it until right now, but I do not know that life either. I think other than my first boyfriend that I had when I was 16, every partner I've had has been in the production/entertainment field. So yeah, definitely like to live on edge.
I know. I like that. A little risky, Totally.
Yeah.
Which is funny. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your relationship with your anxiety, because we talked, if people aren't familiar, Always Open was a wonderful podcast. I was actually that was the saddest part for me, because I really loved Always Open. I don't know if you can tell us how it came to be.
Yeah, absolutely. So Always Open was a podcast I did at Rooster Teeth. I think it started in 2016, if I'm remembering correctly. And it was kind of birthed out of this idea that we didn't have a lot of female-facing content at Rooster Teeth. It was definitely a boys' club there for the majority of its years. But myself and a couple other women at the company felt like we wanted to have more of a female-led content. And so Always Open was the podcast that was birthed out of that I co-hosted with Mariel Salcedo, who is wonderful and is off, again, doing wonderful things in the corporate world. But yeah, it was a big focus on mental health, on sexuality, relationships, things that I've always had an interest in talking about and being more open about. And something that I felt very passionate about at Rooster Teeth when doing the RT podcast was talking about things that seem a little more taboo, but oftentimes I would get the reaction of, oh, I deal with that, and I've never heard people just talk openly about it. So that's really refreshing. And so we took that concept and brought that into Always Open of, okay, let's talk candidly about these things that are a little bit more, off the table typically.
Yeah, little taboo topics, if you will. Yeah, I love that podcast. I love the conversations. And was that, it's funny because I suspected that it was like your interests because now you have a
special interest.
You have a special interest. Was that part of the motivation behind How Are We Today?
I think so, yeah. So How Are We Today is a show that Tyler Coe, who you met also at Rooster Teeth, a frequent guest of Always Open as well, a good friend of mine, he was also very passionate about mental health. He has a lot of his own struggles that he's been very candid about and very open about, that he sometimes addressed on the show, but also addressed on his own, because he kept working on content like that even after he left Rooster Teeth. And How Are We Today was a show that I think has been working on, I want to say, for like 6 or 7 years.
I thought it was a long time because he had reached out to me eons ago. Not really about that, but the concept or like a podcast. I know he was doing a bunch of different things, very passionate about like mental health advocacy and stuff like that.
Which is wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your relationship mental health wise, you said you always had interest in psychology. Where'd that come from?
I just am fascinated by the brain. I think it's the most powerful tool we have. Obviously, I know that is no shit, of course.
But people don't talk about it like that. You're saying it's like an obvious thing, but I don't. Just because something is like a duh doesn't mean we acknowledge it.
That's true.
All the time. I feel like a lot of people, and I could be wrong, but I've been like, I'm on like a spiritual journey, you guys, and I feel like it's almost like every 7 years our cells regenerate and we're like a whole new person. I love that, first of all.
We're like lizards.
Yes.
Which is very slow.
Our skins. Bye, old self. See you never. And I love that because, like, I think every so many years we need, like, a shakeup.
Yes.
Right? Like, we need something different. And I think it's, like, important to tap into different parts of ourselves because we can lose sight. We can lose, like, connection with our intuition. Like, I had a video just come out this week about that. Like, how do you connect with, like, your inner self and, like, your inner knowing? And, there's so much power in just the way that we think about our circumstance. And that perspective can actually alter what happens next.
Absolutely.
Which I agree. Brain is fascinating.
It's funny because I actually had this experience in college where, to my surprise, a marketing professor said this thing where I want to get the quote right, but it's something along the lines of 10% of your life is determined by what happens to you. 90% is determined by how you react to it. And out of all people in my life to say something like that, it was just a marketing professor. But it kind of awoken something inside me of just like, you have so much control over how your life is based on just how you react to things and how you approach things. Because, yeah, I could be on my way here to do the podcast with you and get super pissed off at someone who cut me off, or, if I spill something on myself, like, oh, I freak out and it ruins my whole day. Or just like, oh, oops, that was a mistake. Let me just change. Or, oh, that person might be in a rush to go see someone at the hospital. Like, you never know what people are doing. Know. And so just giving people the benefit of the doubt, having a little bit more patience, not, letting your emotions get the best of you, and having a little bit more control and perspective, I think, has just changed everything for me.
Especially weathering those ups and downs, those like uncertain times, right? Because the creator life is not an easy one, and you just never know. And it's like shit can go either way. And like you said with the Rooster Teeth, like you're watching the numbers in analytics. Like, we know our worth is not tied to that, but it's hard to not somehow connect it.
It's hard to not feel like it is.
Yes,
Yeah.
very hard. And so I feel like each and every day we have an opportunity to either let it pull us under and be like, shit, this is really bad, or rise above and be like, you know what, it's all happening the way that it's supposed to. I'm going to do my best, and like perspective, maybe that person that was rude wasn't rude because I did anything wrong. They're just having a bad day.
And usually that's the case.
It is. There's a bunch of research, and I'm forgetting I think it was out of Harvard, but I'm forgetting who it was, but it was essentially the how egocentric we are. Like
we're all the main character.
Yes. And if we're all the main character, if you logically think about that, if I'm my own main character and you're your own main character, then what's the chance that when I pass you on the street, if you're a stranger, that you're thinking about me and I'm thinking about you? 0%.
But you're like, oh my God, that person probably noticed that my shoe was untied, or like my hair looked weird, or my makeup was green in my teeth. And I'm like, no, they're thinking about themselves.
They're thinking the same thing.
Yeah. And I try to remind, I have a lot of friends who get very much in their own head about like, oh, are people laughing at me or going to make fun of me? Or like, was I talking too much, or was I being annoying? And I was like, I guarantee you, any group that you were just in every person was thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about you. They're not going home being like, oh my God, could you believe that person said that? It's like, no, they're going home going, oh my God, did I talk too much? Was I annoying?
Totally. And that's the anxiety thought, like they have about like hangxiety. Like if you're drunk out and then you get wake up the next day, you're like, oh my God, what did I do? And I definitely get that way. Have you felt like you've been anxious like your whole life? Has that been something that you've always kind of experienced?
Yes and no. It's gotten better over time. I think, they always say like, oh, when you're older, you'll care less about what other people think of you. And I'm like, oh, how's that possible? It's true. Like, as I've gotten more comfortable with myself and had more of that realization that everyone is their own main character, my anxiety has gotten so much better in that sense. My anxiety now is more the world and the state of the country.
What do you mean?
Yeah, everything's great.
So relaxing.
Yeah, there's no strife whatsoever anywhere. And it's also a lot of it's not emotional fatigue, but it's like where you feel compassion fatigue.
Yes,
that's the one where you feel almost helpless to help in some situations, where you see suffering around you, whether it be in your community or the world, and you just feel like so helpless towards that. That is more of where my anxiety, I think, stems from these days.
Yeah, and I think you are right that like it does seem when you're like a teenager especially that like the thought that you wouldn't really care what other people think just seems so foreign.
Yeah.
Because developmentally, that is the time when we really want to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to speak at like high schools and stuff, which was so funny. Thinking back to also just seeing
that makes me anxious thinking about that.
Yeah, and I'm sure they thought I was such a dork, and I don't even care.
Yeah,
because I'm an adult, right? But yes, kids can be brutal. But I remember trying to tell them that like when you get older, all you want to be is different. But when you're younger, all you want to be is the same. And I was like, so just keep that in mind. If you're different, your time will come. Like it's coming. And I know that's like not necessarily the best advice because they're like, I feel like shit now, Katie.
Yeah.
but still, I think it's it's like it is an interesting developmental process. I feel like that I would never have thought was the way that it was.
Yeah.
Like we're all so self-conscious, probably due to puberty and hormones and stuff like that.
And yeah, just I think also trying to, like you said, fit in, but also, you're starting to be attracted to people and you're starting to have all those other hormones come into play. So I get it. I get it.
Have you been in therapy ever?
I tried virtual therapy a little bit. I didn't love it.
Not judging it, just don't love it.
I also didn't love the therapists that I tried out. And again, like I know it's sometimes you have to put in the work of finding the right person for you. So I'm still kind of searching for the right person.
It's hard. And that's fair though.
Yeah.
I think like it sucks. Just period. That process sucks.
Yeah.
Because I've done it myself. Like, especially when I moved here because I had to leave my old therapist in Santa Monica, which was probably one of the worst parts of it, where I was like, oh my God. And then I just could not find the right, and it sounds weird, but I'm not Southern, so I didn't want like a Southern person because I was like, well, you don't understand me.
Yeah. Exactly. You want someone who's going to understand you.
Yeah.
And also, I think a lot of the therapists that I went through 3. I had 1 session each with them. So
that's
I was
pretty
like,
good though. I'm proud of you for continuing to try.
2 of them were men. which I realized at the time. I was like, okay, I don't think I feel as comfortable talking to a man about, because some of my issues are very much female oriented. But yeah, I don't know. It just didn't feel like the right fit with all three of them. So,
And I can't see a guy either.
Yeah.
I don't know. I tried in college because my one therapist had left. She retired. And so they placed me with, I forget his name, Daniel. Or sorry, Daniel. No offense.
Daniel's watching right now.
Right. He's
very offended.
So offended. But yeah, so I saw him for a little bit and was like, this isn't working out. And I always tell people, I'm like, this is not the time to be PC. You don't need to be like, each person's equal. I want you to feel seen and heard. And a lot of it has to do with feeling like they're similar to you, which is why you shouldn't know much about your therapist. So they can just be like a blank slate for whatever you want to put onto them.
Good to know.
Yeah. Well, it's part of how we're trained because everybody's so different. And I would never want a patient of mine to be like, oh, well, she's, I don't know, from Washington State. She's not going to get me. I'm from Missouri. She doesn't know what it's like. Or I don't know. Just like I said, Southern. You know?
Totally.
We're supposed to kind of be very boring vanilla. We don't know.
Interesting.
Amorphous, if you will.
I just see you as a blob right in front of me.
And you get to mold me into whatever you want.
That's good to know.
It sounds weird, but it's, you can see why it would benefit.
It makes total sense.
Because then you're supposed to be like, oh, I like them. They seem kind of cool. I can hang,
Yeah.
We're really good mirrors and mimickers.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So interesting.
Yeah, it's funny because when I did Always Open, of course, a lot of the questions we got from our viewers were, looking for advice or looking for our thoughts on the subject. And we had to say a lot of times, we're not licensed therapists. We're not medical professionals. This is just our personal advice. And a lot of our ending advice would be, but we recommend you look into, maybe looking into a therapy.
Thank you to Fabletics for sponsoring today's podcast. You all know I basically live in activewear, and I'm picky. Very picky. But Fabletics has totally won me over. I got their high-waisted pocket leggings, which I swear are the first leggings I've had in years that don't roll down on me, even on the days that I'm running errands, filming, or sitting cross-legged writing and reading for hours. And the pockets? Actually functional. Then I tried the Tahoe teddy jacket, and oh my gosh, it's so soft and super warm. I've worn it on walks, to the grocery store, and honestly just around the house because it's that cozy. The quality really surprised me. Everything feels like the super high-end activewear that you'd normally pay a couple $100s for, but at a fraction of the cost. The fabrics are soft, breathable, durable, and the fit is perfect. Nothing bunches, nothing rolls, and everything somehow still looks cute. And when I signed up as a new VIP, I got 80% off everything, which made it feel like the membership basically paid for itself. Plus, with the holidays coming up, I'm grabbing a few pieces as gifts because this is the stuff that people actually use. And with this discount, I can stretch my budget without sacrificing quality. Honestly, I didn't realize how much I'd wear Fabletics until I tried it. Now it's pretty much in my everyday gear. Fabletics already has amazing deals, but right now they're running their biggest sale of the year on top of that. And I've got an exclusive offer just for you. 80% off everything when you sign up as a VIP. Head to fabletics.com/Kati and sign up as a VIP to get 80% off everything. This is only available through my link, so go to fabletics.com/Kati and sign up as a VIP and get 80% off. That's fabletics.com/Kati. Thank you to OneSkin for sponsoring this week's podcast. I've been using OneSkin for a little while now, and I have to say I was skeptical at first. I've tried a lot of moisturizers, a lot of which have anti-aging claims, and honestly, I wasn't expecting anything dramatic, but OneSkin genuinely surprised me. The OS1 formula feels different. My skin has been smoother, more hydrated, and the biggest change for me was how much healthier and more even it looks in the mornings. I've been using the OS1 Face and OS1 Eye, and I love how they layer without feeling heavy or irritating. It's become the easiest part of my nightly routine. What really hooked me is that OneSkin takes a science-first approach. At the core is their patented OS1 peptide, the first ingredient proven to target senescent cells, the root causes of wrinkles, crepiness, and loss of elasticity, and it's been validated in 5 clinical studies. And everything is dermatologist tested and certified safe for sensitive skin, which I appreciate because my face reacts to everything. And since it's the holidays, OneSkin just launched their limited edition holiday sets, including the Nightly Rewind gift set. It's such a beautiful upgrade to any nighttime ritual. You get their best-selling face moisturizer, the new peptide lip mask, and a sculpting gua sha tool, all designed to work together as your skin goes into its natural repair mode. It's luxurious without feeling fussy, and honestly, such a good gift. For a limited time, try OneSkin for 15% off using code Kati at oneskin.co/Kati. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you.
And a lot of our ending advice would be, but we recommend you look into, maybe looking into a therapy session or therapists. And I felt a little weird sometimes about giving that advice, not being someone who went to therapy. Like I was like, I recommend you do this even though I'm not doing that,
Like you're not practicing what you preach.
Exactly.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, I get it and I appreciate that because I think there is something to having gone through it that gives you a different type of insight. But the one thing I will say that I don't even know if it's changed my view. I may have already thought this, but like I've been online for too long to know what I was like before.
Chronically online.
Right? I'm like, since forever. Is there's such power in the I've been there too, or the here's my thoughts and I'm not a professional.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes like I'll just say maybe me, like I can come across maybe as like a know-it-all or something, or like they think I have it all together. I don't. But like
nobody does.
No. It's all our first time on Earth here. We're just figuring it out.
Literally.
Like it's my first rodeo. Yeah. Literally. But I think sometimes they can come across little like, I know better, blah, blah, blah. Here are the 3 things you need to do. And peer support, which is kind of what I would consider that, or like advice from peers, sometimes resonates. You can actually hear it then.
Yeah. And it was, people often would write in with real struggles that they were dealing with. And where it's like, well, we are not in the place to really tell you what to do. This is just our personal opinions. But also, we recognize that your friends and family might also not be in a place to advise you on what to do. So if that's still the case, then yeah, a therapist might be a good option for that. And I felt comfortable enough saying that because that's truly what I believe. And, if I was in a situation where I was struggling with something to a deeper level where I felt like I didn't want to burden my friends and family, or I felt like, oh, this is something that I need an outside perspective on or an outside person to, advise me on, then yeah, I think therapy would be the perfect option for that.
Do you think being online for as long as you have has changed how much you share about yourself? Because I've always thought you're very cards close to chest.
Really?
And not in a bad way.
I didn't always used to be.
See, that's why I was curious because it changes us.
I when I first started at Rooster Teeth, again, I was in my early 20s.
That's what I was like. 24, we started the channel.
Exactly, yeah. So at that point, I don't know if you're the same. I was like,
open
my whole
book.
life is out here.
Yep. Blah.
Blah. But then as time went on, I went, okay, maybe I should hold a little things more close to the chest. Maybe not tell the internet all my thoughts and feelings and everything I'm doing and everywhere I'm going and, every single detail about my life. Not that I don't feel comfortable sharing and being open. It's more of like, well, this is just for me. I don't have to share every aspect of my life online, which I think is probably a healthier way of going about it.
Definitely healthy. But I think something about because we didn't grow up with social media, right? It's like,
yeah.
I mean, even though it can feel like we grew up with it a little bit, like our childhood was still protected.
Right. Like MySpace, I think, was the first social media platform, and that came in
2000?
Was it that early? I feel like it was like maybe 2004. I don't know. Early 2000s.
Early 2000s.
But even that wasn't, I don't really see that as social media because, again, you would make a profile and you, I think, could message people on there.
I think so. I remember just that was my first coding experience where I was like, I need my background and I wanted to play this song.
Yep.
Because I'm in an emo phase and I want you all to know.
Curated top 8.
Yep. And I love Pepe Le Pew. Random fact. I don't know if I've never shared that. He's like one of my favorite characters. Him and Eeyore, which I guess says a lot about who I am. And Pepe Le Pew, I wanted him running, and that took me forever to figure out how to get him. Because his little hearts would come out.
Yep.
Oh, I love Pepe.
HTML.
Yep.
The whole.
I'm not a coder, but I can really whip up a MySpace profile.
You give me a MySpace.
I tell you what,
I'm on it. But yeah, it's a very different, I think, childhood growing up with the social media we had, which was limited. And also came at a later age versus now people are born into the world and immediately have an Instagram account, I can't imagine going to school and being in high school or middle school with having people on social media. And
well, I don't know if we could really teach. It's hard because, like we're just saying, like you first shared everything and you're like, well, I should probably keep some things for myself, which is really important.
Yeah.
But if you had it your whole, I just don't, it's almost hard for me to conceptualize. I can think about it and we can logically figure out, like, I don't think that's really healthy.
Yeah.
And we kind of know that. And like the Facebook like files that came out like shows us that it's not good. But I think it's just like, because we didn't know what it was, so many people would overshare without realizing they were oversharing.
Yeah.
And it's just, I feel like it's, my friend Chelsea says it best. She has her channel's The Financial Diet. And she was saying that, like, she was talking about with money, but I'm going to talk about it like with just relational bits, is that when you grow up without social media, like we did, you grow up in a community that is relatively similar. Yeah. Unless you're in a huge city, but even then, the kids that live there are pretty much usually the same, like, level of income. You have like similar backgrounds and you do similar things.
And they might even go to the same school that you go to.
Yes, yeah. Or same church or synagogue or whatever, right? Like insert thing. And so you're only exposed to this little bubble.
Interesting.
So let's say you're in a big school, it's like 1,000 kids. Okay? I went to a school with 200 kids.
Wow, yeah.
So it was real small. But that's all you're exposed to.
Yeah.
And those are your comparators. And you're like, oh, you have Doc Martens sandal. I want Doc Martens sandal. Oh, you got Abercrombie. I want to Abercrombie. And that's how we compare and like who's cool. And, Gap was really cool when I was a kid. And like we wanted all these things, right? So funny. It's like back now, which kind of makes me giggle.
I know. I'm
like,
Gap
did my mom feel this way?
Yeah.
Like,
oh
probably.
Yeah.
But so there's that. But then enter social media. You're now comparing yourself to children from all over.
Yeah, you're exposed to everything.
Yes.
Everyone.
Which, like, I remember when I went to Pepperdine, because I was a scholarship student, I didn't know what, like, any fancy bags were. I know that sounds kind of silly now, but, like, I remember people talking about, like, Coach or Louis Vuitton. I legitimately did not know what that meant.
Yep.
And I remember my roommate in college, because she came from a wealthy family, and she did not like her stepmom, and her stepmom had given her, like, this purse. And she was like, I refuse to use it. You take it. And I was like, okay. Like, yeah. It was Kate Spade, okay? I had never spent more than like $30 on a purse at this point and didn't even know what it was. And I didn't love it. It was kind of funky looking, but I was like, it will hold all the things I need. It zips up. And I took that fucker everywhere.
Yeah.
And so many people were like, oh my God, you have the new. And I was like, I don't even know what that, again, don't know what that means.
But you're impressed.
Because I hadn't been exposed to that.
Yeah.
But now kids are like exposed. Even if you live like in a rural country town like I do, that means you're exposed to kids buying Louis Vuitton bags. And it's not even just wealth. It's just like a whole different way of being.
It's like every lifestyle.
And all the highlights.
Yeah. And I think about this all the time because you are literally exposed to the most beautiful people, the most fit people who have money or the ability to pay for certain things, to look a certain way. And I remember growing up being told, like, oh, magazines are going to ruin young girls' self-esteem.
Yes. My mom wouldn't even let me get sassy because it was, like, too adult.
And, like, people talk about the dangers of young girls seeing these, like, beautiful models and, like, because they're airbrushed and photoshopped and everything like that. And now you're exposed to people who have filters or they have work done or they have whatever it is. And people are starting younger, too, which is also really scary.
Really scary.
Because they're trying to achieve what they're seeing online, which is just everything. And so you could see, the most beautiful, best of the best looking people in the whole world and think like that is a standard.
Yeah, that everybody else looks that way. I don't, kind of thing, right?
And like I've seen videos of, high school age girls who look like they're in their mid-20s because of they're all done up. They have all the, most expensive makeup and their hair's done and they have extensions and the most expensive designer clothing. And I'm like, you should see a picture of me in high school.
Right?
Yikes.
I love those memes or the videos where it shows like me and my friend, like when you're filming, because that's so our generation of
singing the Spice Girls. Or,
yes. Yeah. And like, I don't know, just horrible fashion choices. Again, first of all, my mom was never going to pay for like Sephora brand anything. It was like drugstore or
I
bust.
wouldn't have wanted my mom to.
I wouldn't even know what to do with that. Like, I remember my best friend Ashley when I was growing up, she was super into makeup. So she would like teach me because I was a tomboy, like, and my mom, I'm like a country folk. Like, I know nothing. Like, and my mom would just she would put blush and don't put too much concealer. And you dab, 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 dab. Like, those were the only things I was taught. And so everything I learned about like trying to create a smoky eye or whatever you want to do when you're going out, when you're younger, was all from my girlfriends and all in dorm room chaos. Now it's like, obviously we can educate and that's great. But then I think there's like this piece of like, you could be so much more self-conscious. I'd be interested. I wonder if there's research about like eating disorders, body dysmorphia, like the rates have to be going up.
It has to be. And also just everyone is trying to sell you something now too on social media. I almost have to be so mindful when especially scrolling TikTok of just, okay, someone is saying something that immediately catches your attention of, I used to have this problem and then this thing really fixed it. And like they sound so convincing. You have to think, okay, what are they trying to sell me something?
It says creator earns commissions. I'm like, swipe.
Yeah, immediately.
I can't let it in my brain because that's one thing like I've been reading more about on my spiritual journey about like how easily we can be manipulated.
So susceptible to it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm reading this book, The Art of Thinking Clearly. And it's essentially like chapter after chapter, there's 99 of them. Reasons that we have biases and reasons that we can be swayed. And it's fascinating because it's like everything from if I create it, I'm going to think it's better than if somebody else does just because I know and I feel like I've thought about it or I've done all the work. I don't know. It's just we can't help it.
Yeah.
2, like if I think there's a scarcity, I want it more.
Yeah.
Like all sorts of things. It's really interesting. And I feel like, yeah, social media is definitely it's a wonderful tool. It's beautiful. But like anything, we have to figure out how to deal with it.
Yeah.
So how do you think it's changed you? So obviously keep things a little bit closer to your chest. How else? What do you think else is shifted being online as long as you have?
It definitely, I think especially since the pandemic, I have 100% realized I have an addiction to my phone, especially scrolling on social media, to the point where I have had to put things in my house that are essentially like little phone holders. And I go, I'm going to hang up my phone.
Oh, smart.
So it's like, it's there. Like, yes, you could put it down on a counter, but it feels like I'm hanging it up. I've also installed different apps. Like there's this one from Hank Green that you might have heard of. It's like you have a little bean and you're like, oh, make your bean knit some socks for an hour, but you can't interrupt him. So you have to put your bean who's knitting on your phone and it has a little timer going. And if you interrupt him to open a different app or look at something on your phone, he stops knitting and you lose all your progress.
Oh,
and so it's just like one of those little like, I'm putting my phone in timeout essentially. So just trying to be more present and more mindful of my time. But I think it's also definitely changed my perspective on wanting kids. I've never been super like gung-ho about having kids.
I mean, I'm child-free. I don't know if you know that about me. I think you do, but yeah.
I am too. And I, growing up, I thought I was going to want kids and it never really fully manifested in a way where I was like, yeah, I just want to be a mom. Like that never hit me.
Me neither. And I don't know if this is correct for you, but I kept thinking it would. Is that weird?
Everyone told me it would.
I feel like I'm programmed. Yeah. I feel like we're programmed to think that's like our main duty. And
one day you're just going to be like, oh my God, I have to be a mom. I have to bear children.
This is my duty.
But like literally, I felt the opposite.
I'm 42 and it's not.
I'm 36, so
I'm waiting.
I'm close behind you. But it's like nothing has made me feel that way. If anything, I've just gone the opposite way because I've seen so much of social media. I've seen people's experiences, but also I don't want to have a kid experience social media. Like, I don't want to bring a child into this world and be concerned about their activity online because I've seen the horrors of it.
Yeah.
And not saying that, like, people who've chosen to have children have made a mistake of any sort. I think people should, if they want kids, they should absolutely be having kids. But it's just, I feel like I would be constantly anxious about that aspect of things.
I think the thing that frustrates me the most, that makes me like prickly, is 2 parts. Number 1, I think I was like programmed to think that was my job.
Yeah.
Which is why I think I hummed and hawed about it so long, because I felt like maybe it'll come. Maybe.
Time's a ticking.
Yeah, right? These ovaries aren't getting any younger. And then I think the second is the fact that because I decide that I don't people like automatically think something's wrong with, there's like judgment.
Yeah.
And it feels like they feel like I'm attacking them for choose. And it's not a you versus me. It's like, you choose for you, I choose for me.
You don't know what happiness you're missing out on, or you don't like, how could you not have children? Like that is such a big part of life. Like what's your purpose without that?
Exactly.
Which is what I hear a lot. Not from people I know, thankfully, because if people I know said that to me, we'd have a chat.
Yeah.
But
that's why they're not your close people.
That's why. But the way I look at it is, I wish I remembered her name. But it was this woman who I saw this clip of on social media, of course, which again, there are some
great benefits.
You
find your tribe, you
learn things, you find
validated.
some things. Absolutely. This woman was talking about why regret is so pointless, because when you make a decision in life,
I've seen this clip.
It's so good. When you make a decision in life, just make the decision right. Don't worry about making the right decision. So I think her example was, I could go to Harvard, I could go to Yale. Well, if I choose to go to Harvard, like, what if Yale would have been better? What if I would have met better people there, had a better time? Maybe it would have been worse, or just the same as Harvard. Who knows? But you chose to go to Harvard. I'm using two incredible schools.
Of course, but you could insert anything.
Insert anything. Like, I'm choosing not to have children. So I'm going to fully go into that decision. I'm not going to have children, so I'm going to enjoy that life to the fullest extent and not try to have regret of not doing something. Because what if I do have children and I have a horrible experience, or I go through some medical issue and end up harming myself, or, have difficulty raising kids, or, any sort of number of possibility. Or what if it's amazing? What if it's the best thing I ever did with my life? And if I did it, I couldn't imagine a world where I didn't do it. Of course, that's a possibility. But I chose this. So I want to be fully in that decision.
100%. Yeah. And what a privilege to have children and get to raise, 100%, right? Yeah. But also, you need, I would want to do it properly.
Yes.
And that takes a level of commitment that I'm not willing to give to it. And I feel like this sounds terrible because I know a lot of people have a tough time conceiving, so I don't mean about conception, but I'd be like, it's easy to have a child. It's also easy to not have a child. And I feel like that's a huge decision.
I think there's also so much to life that some people don't really acknowledge. Like, there's a lot of, I think especially the older generations think that your purpose is to procreate and to like have legacy. And for me, my purpose in life is just to have a good time. Like,
same though.
I want to be happy. I want to enjoy life. I want to work hard and do things I enjoy every day, and hopefully if I make money doing what I like to do, use that to travel or for things that bring me joy, not necessarily spending it on kids.
Same. Well, and I think the feedback I've received from online and even in personal life is that a lot of people agree with us, and they feel kind of sometimes unheard because society says this is, what our role is as women.
Yeah.
But I think it's also like, then there's the pushback of like, well, that's so selfish. I'm like, but it's my life. And I feel like we've given like selfishness made it a bad word.
But I'm always like, why is it selfish?
It's really not. It's self-preservation for us, or it's like, it's choices. It's life choices, and everybody's different. And I think from some of my friends, they feel like they're like sacrificing to be a mom, to like, we should have, like, people like us should be having kids and we're the ones that could be good parents. And
sure.
But I mean, it's just all choices. Life is filled with a zillion choices.
But like, do you want me to bring a kid into this world who I didn't want to bring in? Like, that to me is a little bit more selfish, that I'm doing this, for someone else.
Agreed.
In a way where it's like, I don't know. But also, like, a lot of people use the argument, and I'm sure anyone who's ever heard people talk about being child-free before has heard all of this, but who's going to take care of you when you're older? It's like, talk about selfish. Having a kid just so I have someone to take care of me when I'm old, having this expectation that this person who hopefully is their own human being is, I'm creating them for the sole purpose of taking care of me when I need someone. Or I don't spend money on having a kid and I could maybe, find myself good care.
That's my plan.
Or have friends and other people around you who you've built a community with who could take care of each other as well.
That's what Sean and I always joke that we'll move into like this big house with a bunch of us oldies.
I love a commune.
Yeah, and just hang out and have a garden.
I've joked about doing
and talk trash
before. Yeah,
knit. Learn something new. I don't care. Yeah.
It's Meredith's turn to cook tonight, Like
she's making a roast. It's going to be delicious.
Yeah, and then tomorrow I'll make us breakfast and then
I love that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's funny. And it is interesting, the thought process. Because some people are like, well, won't you get lonely and like not having family? And I'm like, my friends are my family and Sean is my family. Family's such an interesting concept.
But again, you can't also rely on, if you have kids, for those people to keep you company and to keep you from being lonely. Because, I've heard many stories of many people in old folks' home who have children, who have offspring, who never visit them. And if anything, that probably makes you feel lonelier.
Yeah.
To have people in your life who aren't coming around.
100%. Yeah. No, it's interesting. I even saw a video, speaking of this, like taking this alternate route. I have a few friends in my life who don't feel like they want to get married.
Okay.
And I don't know if it was not necessarily like not a conscious decision, but kind of like, I don't want to just get married to get married. Like essentially, like, I don't, until I find the right person. And maybe that just isn't going to be what it is for me.
Sure.
And I saw this video, it was so powerful. She talked about like how she is that person and how she feels like she's not anyone's first priority. That's her biggest like pain, because she's like, I forget what she said. It's like, I have people who care for me, but no one's actually caring like actively.
Interesting.
Because she's like, if something good happens, I want to call one of my best friends because she goes, I have two best friends and my mom. She's like, I want to call them. She's like, but I know if they get good news, they're going to call their husbands first. And they're going to ask them first. And I was like, oh, it's just so interesting when you do something that, I don't even think it's alternative what we're talking about, but it sometimes feels like it is. That it kind of comes with there's some weird side effects, I guess.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. But I also have heard that older single women are the happiest demographic.
Statistically speaking, yes.
Go off, queens.
They do find less depression and less anxiety.
Yes.
Yeah. So go get it.
Do you?
Yeah. I think that's the thing is like, in general, I hope that we as women can support other women making decisions that are best for them.
Right.
Do what you want to do.
Absolutely.
And I think we're getting better at it, I would say, because my aunt Roxanne, have to give a shout out to Roxanne. They're child-free. And I remember when I was kind of coming around to the decision that we were not ever. I think I was probably like your age, like 35, 36. And I'd been asked enough and we'd been married for a few years and people were like, come on. And I was like, I remember telling this one person in our family, I won't name her, but she was like, we'll at least have one. I was like, you have it.
At least just have one.
I know, just one.
As if it's like ordering food at a restaurant.
When I was talking to my Aunt Roxanne about this and stuff, and I was like, do you ever regret it? Or, just like wanting some wisdom to be like, you're making a good choice. This isn't foolish. You're not being, I don't know, not thinking things through. And she was, not for a fucking second. And I was like, exactly. Like, I think, we have to make decisions that are, and that was way back. I mean, because she's like my mom's-ish age, so like in her 60s.
Yeah.
Like a whole different era.
Yeah.
So shout out to all the Roxannes that paved the way.
It's great hearing from, I think, women who are especially like 50s, 60s, 70s even, who have been child-free, to hear their perspective on it. Because I think, when you're still in your 30s, early 40s, mid 40s, you might still be thinking like, oh yeah, I'm glad I never had kids, because you haven't lived your full, adulthood yet, versus when you're like 60s, 70s, where you could actually look back and go like, no, I have zero regrets. Because of course, like right now, I'm like, yeah, of course, I'm very happy with my decision. But, wonder what I'm going to feel like in 30 years from now. Like, am I going to regret it?
Yeah. And we'll never know, right? You can't see the future, but you make decisions based on what you know now. That's what I always tell people, like, regret's a waste of time. Because we did what we could at the moment with the information that we had, right? We did the best we could.
Yes.
And like you said, you can't make the right decision, just make the decision right.
Yep.
And I think that's something that, and it's really helpful. That clip I'd saved and I'd watched it because I'm like, sometimes I just ruminate and like like my video I just had about like pros and cons lists are bullshit because you already usually know what you want to do. You just often don't want to acknowledge. Like what prompted the video was this quote, and you might like this. It was like, we only overthink when we go against our intuition.
Oh, interesting.
And I was like,
I'm going to take that one home with me.
Yes.
Lock that up.
Think on that one. Because I was like, oh my God,
I'm going to go overthink that quote.
I know. I'm going to ruminate about, But it was so true because I feel like I overthink when I maybe am not quite ready to admit it to myself or to say it out, to admit it to others.
Yeah.
That's the choice that I'm making. Because it either feels maybe a little risky, I'm scared, or like it's going against what's expected.
Interesting.
Or, yeah.
I also, this is again such a classic quote that people say, but it's the idea that I'd rather regret not having kids than regret having kids.
100%.
So I fully believe that, where it's like, if I'm not 100% yes, then it's a no for me. Because like, I don't want any part of me being like, I kind of don't want to do this.
I agree, because it's going to be the most challenging thing.
It completely, I mean, I've had very close friends who've had kids and they struggled with postpartum depression and, a lot of those things where they just had the realization that their life is forever different. And of course, they're amazing mothers and amazing people and have fully dove into motherhood and have been incredible, but they're human and they've realized that, that life that they had is now essentially forever gone and in the past because now they're just a different person. They have to be. Yeah.
Well, you're like my girlfriends who've had children, they're like, you're never the same. And for better, for worse, right? My girlfriends who really wanted kids feel like it's the biggest blessing and it's amazing. That's how it should be.
Right. Yeah.
Like 10 out of 10, that's what the experience should be. And then I do also have friends who are like, I wish I knew it was a choice. Or like I was a nanny for a lot of college, which maybe is why I'm like, not for me.
You've had enough.
Yeah, I already was a mom for like a long time. But she even said she felt like she had to have kids and they had a really hard time conceiving. And when she had them, like the maternal instinct just didn't like kick like she thought it was. And then she felt horrible about herself. And she's like, what the hell is wrong? I'm a woman. I'm supposed to be like, it can really like fuck you up in some ways. It is a mind fuck a little bit, or at least a hormone swing of chaos. Like,
oh my God, I can't even imagine.
So you have to be 110% in. Yeah.
I also, the idea of childbirth. I know we're talking a lot about this, but the idea of childbirth,
I find it interesting.
Like, terrifies me like nothing else.
So much so, I was just at a conference. This is totally random. I was just at a conference, one of my favorite conferences, and one of the attendees drove for 4 hours or whatever to get there, and she was 40 weeks pregnant.
40?
And
so she was basically giving birth.
Right then, right there. Like I expect her to walk and like water just fly out of her.
Oh my God.
I was so terrified because the medic, so they have a medic on staff because it's like a health advocate. So there's people with all sorts of different needs. They want to make sure people are cared for.
That's great.
And my friend who like was putting on the event, she called the medic and she's like, I just want you to know there's like a woman here. It's like 40 weeks and we weren't sure or whatever. And he was like, do me a favor. First, please, for the love of God, call 911. Then
I will not be doing this.
Then you can call me if you know that they're a long ways out.
Okay.
And I was like, are we going to have to birth this baby? Oh my.
No one say anything really shocking.
Right?
All of a sudden.
No spicy foods. Like, because I swear.
No jump scares.
Right? Just keep it calm. Because I worked one of my first jobs out of undergrad, because I had a year between undergrad and graduate school. I worked at this home, is a foster home for pregnant or parenting teens or young women. And so I have seen babies be born. And I mean, we used to call them like, they were like wounded warriors when they'd come back, because if they had to get an episiotomy, they'd like waddle or C-section.
Oh my gosh,
and to see it happen, I mean, it's a miracle. You're like overwhelmed. I'm going to be honest. It is a whoa experience.
Yeah.
But also, holy shit. Terrifying.
The fact that so many people do that every day.
Yes.
All
and
over
all
the
of
world.
Us came from that.
Yeah.
That our moms were like, I got this, don't worry.
Thanks, Mom.
I know. Shout out to the moms.
Thanks for getting me out of here.
Who was it? What somebody said, like, we're the creators of all the humans.
Yeah.
We have to have some respect, for going through all that.
We say as we both plan on having kids.
We'd like bow out.
But women though, right?
Yes. Yeah, but women, yeah. So what are you looking forward to? What are you working on next?
So my main focus right now is Tales from the Stinky Dragon, which is my Dungeons & Dragons podcast. That is actually a show that I started at Rooster Teeth that we were lucky enough to retain the IP for when the company closed.
Was that as hard as I've heard that it is?
It was... The process of it was a bit of a headache with like paperwork and everything like that.
Blah, blah.
All that stuff. But in terms of like the end result, we were very grateful that we went through it to, be able to continue it. Because it's me and 6 fellow former Rooster Teeth people who are all now getting to work together and essentially own a small business together, which is really fun. Not stressful at all.
It's its own,
It's tough when... when I worked at Rooster Teeth, obviously that was like a full-time job and we had benefits and it was, a great job. Here it's, okay, like our entire career and, our whole job relies on the goodwill of our fans and our audience being able to support us on Patreon.
I was just going to say, go to Patreon. We'll link it in the description.
Stinky Dragon
Patreon too. Love Patreon.
Love Patreon. But just like the generosity of people and people wanting to support what we make and... it's nerve-wracking in that sense, but it also is, you have another level of gratefulness when it comes to being able to do what you do and have people support it financially in that way. So we just consider ourselves very lucky and very fortunate that we get to play D&D for a living, essentially.
Yeah. No, and it's super cute. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. And you also have a new product.
I do. I should have brought you a bottle today. I totally forgot about it. I have a new hairstyling cream. Very random.
I was like, where did this idea come from?
So I worked with someone when I was on the State Farm Gamerhood, which is like a show I do every year for, it's so much fun. I have a great time with it. But one of the people I worked with there works with someone who has this company where they make like hair care, skincare products and stuff like that. And they were like, was that something you'd ever be interested in doing? And I was like, yeah, I'd love to do that, So I got connected with them and I was able to essentially formulate my own hair product.
That's the dream.
For exactly what I wanted it to do. Went back and forth with like, they have a lab that they work with and
amazing.
Everything is natural. Everything is like, sulfate-free, alcohol-free, like everything is a natural product, which is great. It's hard to find these days. I just got to essentially make the exact product that I wanted and needed to use. If anything, I was like, I just get to make this and have it, But yeah, it's very cool and very random.
Yeah.
In a way.
But I mean, if it's something that you like, then it's something that you like.
I've always, I have always been trying to find the right thing for my hair. I feel like I have a lot of it, and being on camera, you want something that's going to make you look good for a long period of time. And so I've had this like weird obsession with my hair since like my whole career. Even my character in RWBY is like based off Goldilocks. So like she's obsessed with hair. So it's my brand, some may say.
It's a very good, it's a very on brand.
Blonde hair.
So where do people buy it?
So I have a link in my bio on Instagram. The link itself is very long, but it should still be on @Dunkelman on my Instagram.
Okay, perfect. We'll link everything in the description. Go check Barbara out. She has merch also.
allgoodnoworries.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, got some cute merch over there.
Yeah, all sorts of cool things.
Yeah.
What are you most excited about? Like, what's coming up for you?
When is this coming out?
In like 3-4 weeks.
Okay, perfect. Then I would be back by now. I'm going to Japan next week.
I'm so jealous.
So,
that's at the top of our list for next year.
It is my number one place on my bucket list.
It's become so popular too.
It has. But it's somewhere I've been wanting to go like my entire life that we're finally going. And again, that's another thing we want to be very purposeful about not having kids we're not having kids so that we could travel, so that we could experience, different things out of life. And so me and Trevor, my husband, are making a concerted effort to take the trip. Go, spend the money to go to the places that we want to go to in life. And Japan is like, number one.
I'm so jealous and excited.
Thank you.
You have to tell me all the like good deets.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna make a whole spreadsheet. I'm sure.
I did, as one random last tidbit, I did read this article recently on Substack where they were diving into like the neuroscience of living a happy life. And one of them, and I'm forgetting the word, I think it's a Japanese word. That's why it like pinged in my brain. I don't know, it's not moiko, but it's something like that. Anyway, it's like finding a purpose every year, like a goal, like a thing that you're going to do.
Oh, I love that.
And you can make them yearly or you can make them quarterly or so, but it's like you have to have like these goals of things. And these aren't goals like work goals.
It's something to look forward to, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like when you have those and you're working towards them actively, like you're breaking it down. That's why I said it can be like, depends on how big of a thing it is. It might be like, I want to go to this, I want to camp at this forest near me.
I want to go to the spa and get a massage.
Exactly. So you can save up your, $20, $50 or whatever you got until you can do it. But it improves like our happiness levels, essentially. Helps us find joy more.
I could totally see that being such a legit thing because day-to-day could feel so monotonous, where it's like you get up at the same time, you have the same morning routine, you drive to work or go to work on, remotely, have the same nightly routine. It feels very like your days kind of blend together. When you have those little milestones or little markers, it changes us so much. So Trevor and I at least try to plan something in November every year, whether it be like a staycation or if we want to go somewhere within the US or abroad. So that's something at least like a big thing we could look forward to each year.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is really important to have those because it is other like wash, rinse, repeat is what I always say. It's like the same thing. So. Yeah. So yay. Well, I can't wait to watch on Instagram. Give me all the
I'll
deets.
be making so many posts. I've also been slowly teaching myself Japanese through Duolingo.
I'm doing it for Spanish to revamp, but I've
it's a challenge.
Japanese is tricky.
Yeah.
Whew.
But you get the hang of it after a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. Maybe I'll switch over.
I'll let you know how my actually speaking it.
Because that's a hard thing.
I haven't done that yet.
Yeah. That's the tricky part. Conversational.
Yeah.
But I think as long as you can say like, thank you, how much is this? Or where's the restroom? Like some of the basic get around.
これはikura desu ka?
Oh.
That's how much is this?
I'm already so impressed. Thank you for hanging out with us today.
Thank you for having me.
It's so good to see you.
You too.
And I will put all the links to all of Barbara's wonderful things down in the description. Check out their Patreon. Check out her hair cream.
My hair cream.
It's so amazing. But yeah, just thank you. So good to see you.
You too. Thank you so much. Bye.
If you cope by overworking yourself, numbing out, or overthinking, or even chasing perfection, that doesn't mean you're broken. It means your nervous system is overwhelmed. And my new book, Why Do I Keep Doing This?, is here to help you stop doing what hurts you and start doing what heals. You can pre-order now. The link is in my bio.